The Blair Witch Project is getting a reboot. Yes, you heard that right. This iconic horror classic is coming back to the big screen thanks to a team-up between Lionsgate and Blumhouse. But what does this mean for the legacy of the original? And are the people who made the first one happy about it? We've got all the latest details, rumors, and reactions for you right here. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
Okay. Good morning.
Got it?
Okay, I got you.
Announcement and production team. This exciting announcement came out of CinemaCon 2024, and it is the very first project in a new multi-picture deal between Lionsgate and Blumhouse. Adam Fogelson, who leads the Lionsgate Motion Picture Group, pointed out that the Blair Witch Project has a lasting legacy as something that introduced the found footage style to audiences all over the world. He stressed that while the original was a game changer for cinema, teaming up with Blumhouse gives them a chance to reimagine the franchise for today's viewers. Jason Blum, the head of Blumhouse, is on board to produce this new project, bringing his well-known horror expertise to the table. Blumhouse Productions is famous for making successful horror movies in small budgets that earn a lot of money, a style that perfectly fits the found footage roots of the Blair Witch Project. This collaboration with Lionsgate is seen as a smart move to bring established horror properties back to life. Lionsgate has a history with the franchise, having released a sequel in 2016, which provides a backdrop for this new effort. While details about the director and specific cast members are still under wraps, Jason Blum's involvement as a producer strongly suggests they're focused on delivering a financially successful horror experience. The announcement at CinemaCon highlights the studio's aim to make this reboot a major event in the horror world, using its existing brand recognition to attract both old and new audiences.
Can't be too careful. What'd you think?
Vision, direction, and approach. Jason Blum has a clear idea for the new Blair Witch. He wants to bring back the intense fear that made the original 1999 classic so impactful. He has often spoken about how much he admires the Blair Witch Project, calling it a huge influence on him. His goal isn't just to make a carbon copy, but to tackle the story from a new angle that respects what came before, while still finding out fresh ways to scare audiences. This means we're likely looking at a new take on the story, rather than a direct follow-up or a total redo that pretends earlier movies never happened. Jason Blum has also mentioned that he sees a chance to innovate within the found footage genre for today's generation. While we don't have many plot details yet, the main focus is on delivering an experience that will connect with both longtime fans and new viewers. You can expect it to be unsettling, much like the original.
For everything that has happened.
Relationship with previous films in canon. The upcoming Blair Witch has a tricky job on its hands. It wants to pay homage to the classic 1999 film while also heading in a completely fresh direction. The movies that came after, like Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2, and Blair Witch, got mixed reactions and have made the overall story a bit messy. The new one could go in a few different directions. It might send another unlucky group back to the Black Hills Forest, or it can go into the broader history of the Blair Witch legend. Another idea is an anthology approach where different directors tell separate stories about the witch's power in various times or places. This would give them creative freedom without being stuck to earlier storylines. The producers hint that they want to find the best path for this newly starting franchise, which suggests they're thinking long-term, possibly multiple films that could expand the Blair Witch story.
He just appears back on her grandmother's porch.
Fan reactions and controversies. If there's excitement, there's also a lot of doubt about how it will turn out. One of the biggest issues came from Joshua Leonard, who played Josh in the 1999 Blair Witch. He spoke out publicly against the reboot announcement. He specifically brought up ongoing problems with how the original creators and actors were paid and treated. He pointed out the huge financial successes of the first one compared to how little the cast members received. They were paid about $300,000 to go away when it became a hit. Leonard was frustrated that the original directors, Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, and the three main actors never got a share of the profits or ongoing payments from a film that made over $248 million worldwide. He questioned whether it was right to make a new one without fixing these old financial complaints. This feeling is shared by many of us who believe that the Blair Witch Project's legacy should also honor the people who made it happen. Discussions on social media have shown these worries, with many supporting Leonard's call for the original cast and crew to be properly paid and recognized for their work. While some of us are hopeful about Blumhouse being involved, hoping for a fresh and scary new take, others are still cautious. They worry that a new one might weaken the original's impact or just be a quick money grab without a real purpose.
I fucking hope he's kidding.
Potential story directions and franchise expansion. What exactly should this next Blair Witch actually do? When we're thinking about that, we need to sideline the debate about whether anyone should make a follow-up to the original, except for them, baby. As a fan myself, and someone who's always curious about anything that expands the story, I believe the Blair Witch Project itself will simply never be outdone. For this new franchise, I honestly think its peak has already passed. That being said, the world and mythology of the Blair Witch Project are screaming for more exploration. Some people might not agree, but I've personally always found that fake documentary included in the bonus features, called The Curse of the Blair Witch, to be even more scary than the film itself. Looking back over more than 2 centuries, the Blair Witch lore is jam-packed with incidents spaced out by about 50 years. For instance, 50 years before those students Heather, Josh, and Mike vanished, an old recluse named Rustin Parr kidnapped children in Burkittsville. He murdered several of them and later swore that a witch had told him to do it. And then, another 50 years before that, a search party went into the woods looking for missing people. They vanished too, only to be found dead and laid out in a place called Coffin Rock before their bodies mysteriously disappeared again. The Curse of the Blair Witch bonus material fills us in on the fact that the mystery we now understand as the Blair Witch myth truly begins with a woman named Ellie Kedward. She journeyed from Ireland in the late 18th century and settles in the original settlement of Blair, which eventually grew into Burkittsville. After she uses what they called pagan techniques like bleeding children to try and cure sicknesses, the hysteria of the time labels her a witch. She's then banished to the woods in the middle of winter, left there to die of starvation. A year later, children start vanishing and the residents start running away from the town. It's a great idea, and people will love it for sure.
Okay.
Timeline and what happens next. We don't have all the details about when it will be released. While we're still waiting for solid release dates, the immediate next steps involve getting the script ready and putting together the creative team, including finding a director and the main actors. Considering Jason Blum's reputation for finishing projects efficiently and often quickly, it's likely we'll hear more about these things in the next few months. If this first reboot does well, more movies will likely follow. The biggest unknowns right now are the exact production timeline and how the issues brought up by the original cast will be handled, especially regarding money. Still, with 2 big players in the horror genre behind it, it's clear the Blair Witch reboot is moving ahead with strong support and a clear goal to reignite the franchise for a new generation.
Come on! Josh!
Marvelous verdict. And that covers everything we've gathered so far about the new Blair Witch. I'm personally very curious to see how it will be handled, especially with so much history to live up to. What are your biggest hopes and fears for this reboot? Drop them in the comments. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our content. I'll catch you in the next one.